I'm watching the rise. And I wouldn't say I'm shocked cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride. This one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife. Could have left 1,000 times just about my.
Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Randy Kaye, and I'm the host of the Caught Up podcast. Today we have Andrew Rich. He is the head coach of Idaho State softball. Since taking over in 2021, he's earned Big Sky Coach of the Year honors, led the Bengals to a regular season title, and built a strong competitive culture. While with past stops at Boise State, Sonoma State, and Fresno State, Coach Rich brings experience, energy, and passion to the game. Now in his fourth season, his Bengals are off to a hot start in 2025. They are currently 21-13 overall, with statement wins over number 13 Texas Tech and San Diego. We're diving into his coaching journey, what's working at ISU, and what's next for the program. Andrew, it's always great to see you. Thanks for taking the time to catch up.
Thanks for having me, Randy. It's always good to talk with you. Good to see you outside of the softball world a little bit. We're going to talk softball, but usually it's just at the field, so it's good to see you outside the field.
Yeah, and normally you're so focused and busy that, I mean, we do spend a lot of time catching up, but I'm anxious to get to know you a little bit more outside as well, and it's always good to see you. How are you? How are things in your world? It looks like, am I right? Is this like an exciting month for you? Is there a birthday coming up?
Oh man, yeah, there is. It's definitely an exciting time of the year. My son will turn 1 at the end of this month, and so we're on the road on the day of his birthday, but then we'll get back. We'll have a birthday party here on campus and have all the team there and some people from the department, which is awesome. It really speaks to the family culture that that we've got here as a program, but it's also our entire athletic department is all in on it, and that's what makes it fun. And so that would be exciting to celebrate him. And it's a big month for our team too, with conference play going, and we'll it's a sprint to the finish line in the Big Sky with the limited amount of conference games that we play. But I'm excited to be here and can't complain about how everything's going so far.
His name's Easton, right?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I mean, I can assume, but you want to kind of break it down how you came up with the name and why? Is there a story behind it?
Yeah. So everybody asks me whenever I'm out recruiting, it's like, oh, like the bat. I'm like, nope, not like the bat. No, me and my wife. So the town that we went to high school in that we met at, it's just outside of Fresno is Easton. And so since we don't live there and we're not there anymore, it kind of made sense to name him Easton. So there's a sign as you drive into town that's, the community of Easton. And so we got a picture with him and me and my wife. And, so it's just kind of something special for, where we met, and that he'll always be able to kind of share his story and everything like that. If I don't want to explain it in that much detail, then I just say, oh yeah, it's like the bat company. We're good. But yep, just a good memory for us to always remember too. If that's where we met, that's where it all started, and that's where we're at with him.
Yeah, and so it kind of all blends together though nicely, I think. So yeah, no, I love that. Let's start with your path, man. You began as a student manager at Fresno State, if I'm correct. Then you coached at Sonoma State, spent a few years at Boise State. Now you're headed up the program at Idaho State. What? How did that path unfold? Like, how did that come about? And just tell me a little bit about how that went.
Man, I've just been really lucky to have really great people that I've worked for. And I think that's kind of led to where I'm at now is, the great people that I've had a chance to learn from and work for and see how they do things. It started with Coach Ford at Fresno State. That first year, she gave me a chance and kind of taught me the ropes and got a crash course and everything from her. And, so that was a great start, and to have her in my corner whenever I need her is awesome. And so getting to play them this past year was fun too. And then I went to Sonoma State, and Jen Bridges up there at Sonoma State is an awesome coach. And, I learned a lot from her as well, and they did things differently, but I, can pick and choose here and there what I liked. And, and then I worked for Maggie, at Boise, and that was amazing. She's still a friend, still there anytime I need her. And, just to be able to work for 3 head coaches in a row that were just awesome people, great coaches, so well established in the business. Just extremely lucky that was my path, and, able to implement things that I learned from them, but then also able to kind of put my own stamp on a program now here has been a ton of fun.
Yeah. I forgot Trisha was at Fresno State. So,
yeah,
kind of looking at that, because I've learned a lot from her too. She said a few things to me lately, or not lately, but early on when she was here at Arizona State, that have kind of stuck with me in regards to pitching and what she looks for. She told me one time, she says, when you find in your organization a pitcher that has two pitches with true spin, call me or
Yeah.
let me know, because
100%.
those things don't always line up. I mean, we all know that they have 4 or 5 and 6 pitches, but to do any of them actually do what they're supposed to is a whole different story.
Exactly. 100%.
So no, that's good. Is there anything else you learned from Trisha that stands out to you to this day that you still kind of look back and draw from?
I think it's mostly just like, there's two things that stick with me from her mostly. There's a lot of things obviously, but the two that stick out the most for me are, the time that you put into it, into the work and into the process of, getting your team ready, getting your players ready, player development, things like that. The time you put into it, but then also just making sure that you love on your players. That's her. I think that's one of her biggest things, is how much she just loves on her players and treats them like family, and really shows them the love. And when you show them the love, then they're going to show you the love back. And a lot of that feeds into what happens on the field. And so I think that, learning those two things right off the bat, right from the start of, hey, this is how it is. It's, you got to do these things well. And that, will all ultimately lead to, some of the success that you want. And so those are two of the things that have stuck out with me the most through my years now, since I worked for her. But, she's great at everything she does. She's awesome. And the things that you can still pick up just from sitting and recruiting with her, is fantastic. But those are the two things that stick out the most from my time with her.
When it comes to what you said, that the time you put into it is important. Is it necessarily like the amount of time, or is it the purposeful time, or is it both? Like,
I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, you want to don't waste your time doing something that's not helping you. I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of times you can get into this and just kind of like grind, but are you accomplishing anything? So it's a little bit of a combination of those two, because you don't want to just be, sitting behind a computer watching video and, tricking yourself into thinking that you're seeing something that's not happening because you've watched so much video. Or, when you're recruiting and you're watching a kid and you try to trick yourself out of something that you like about a kid, like it's not that at the end of the day. It's trust your instincts and get what you need to get into it. But don't trick yourself into thinking something that's not there, which I think is something that we as coaches kind of get ourselves into when we, overanalyze things or spend too much time on something. So, it's spending your time in the right ways, in the right direction, and making sure that it's, useful for everybody around you.
Cool. What made you believe coaching was the lane that you needed to be on?
Yeah. So before I started at Fresno and got into it, I was coaching a little bit here and there in, the high school travel ball world a little bit when I got done playing. But I was also doing like some sports information stuff at Fresno. And being a part of a team was, as a sports information side of things, was you're helping a team, but you're not really part of the team. When that team loses, it doesn't hurt you. You don't feel it. And so I needed that. I needed the competitive part of things. And I love helping people. I love coaching. I love seeing the development. I love seeing somebody figure something out, and like the reaction that they have when they figure something out. And so I love the development part of it. I love the recruiting part of it. I love the, telling people about what we're trying to accomplish here at our place. And when people are on board with that and want to come be a part of it, it's just awesome still to this day. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing is just the competitive piece, man. Like I love to win. I hate to lose. And I wanted to feel that still always. And, that the grind of trying to figure out ways to beat other people and to, when you're struggling, how do we get out of it? And when things are going good, celebrating those things. But also understanding how can we keep getting better, even if things are going good. So, that was the biggest one, was just that competitive piece, man. I couldn't get away from that. I needed that on a daily basis.
Did you come from an athletic family?
Yeah, my mom coached I grew up I was born in December of a year, and I was at the field in the stroller in January. So like I've been at the field my entire life. My sister played all the way through. She played in college.
Where did she play?
She played 2 years at Arizona Western, and then she played 2 years at McNeese. So she played. So getting to follow her career was kind of fun, and then Now I'm in the college softball game, and she gets to kind of follow along with what we're doing. Well, my mom and sister still coach now to this day too, and so sports have always been just kind of what our family. Everybody's like, "What'd you watch?" Like, because everybody like we asked us like, "What do you show Easton?" Like, what did you watch? And I'm like, nothing, sports. Like that's what so I grew up watching. It was just sports all the time. So we didn't really get like cartoons or anything like that. It was like sports. And so you may get a little cartoons here and there from mom and things like that. But if it's me, like I turn the Giants game on every night and we're good to go.
You saw my hat, right?
I love the hat. The hat's fantastic.
It's funny. I wore it for you. I wore it the other day. I did this. I've been really trying to get my message out there in the travel ball world. Because, there's a lot of people that put stuff out there, or there's a lot of things that I just want to control my narrative. So I put something out there, and I was wearing this hat. I was asking people to like and follow my stuff, and I've never wore this hat on camera. And I had one guy from California say, "Hey, that's a terrible hat, but I really like the podcast." And so I knew you were coming on. I know you're from the area. Good stuff.
Huge Giants fan. Giants fan.
This is more of for me. This is more. I don't know if I ever told you the story or if you knew, but my son-in-law was drafted by the Giants.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
I think you told me that.
Yeah. Yep. Years ago, I was lucky enough to go to some games out there and do some cool stuff. Awesome. But I just thought I'd wear it for you. Let's talk about Idaho State. I know you talked briefly about your journey and your steps to get there, but what really what led you there and what excited you about taking over that program? Yeah,
when so I had a couple people when this job opened up of 2021, I guess it was. Some people reached out and were like, "Hey, you should apply." There was a couple travel ball coaches that had players that were here that knew me, and they said, "Hey, go ahead, apply for it and see what happens." And so I did, and got to meet the administration, and I think that was what sold me the most was when I met the administration. When I met our athletic director and got to talk with her and get the feeling that she had for this place, and I was sold with everything that she said, and she's delivered every step of the way so far since I've been here. So, she had a vision for turning this entire athletic department into one of the tops in the Big Sky, and I was all for it. And it just happened to work. It kind of meshed, and our kind of thoughts on what we could do here made sense. And so it was a good fit, easy move to obviously go from Boise over here. It's not like packing up and moving across the country or anything. We packed up and moved 3 hours over to the other side of the state. So that made it a little easier for my wife and I. So that was nice. And when I was at Boise, we'd played Idaho State a couple times during those years. So I got to see, what the program had and who the players were in the program. So I knew there were some players already that, we could do some things with from the start. We've just built it over the last couple of years into what we want it to be. And, we've got it into a really good place. The facility is awesome now. We had a place where, we could only use it a couple of months out of the year because of weather. And now we have a facility that we can use year round. And, it's turned into something really, really awesome. And it's been fun to see the progress from, where I started day one back in 2021 to where we're at now is night and day. But it's just so much fun to see. And it's fun to be, they asked me to do different things around the department and help out in certain ways. And I'm always willing to, we got a coach that we're interviewing and we need to take him to dinner. Perfect. Sign me up. We got a fundraising event that we need. Perfect. Sign me up. I'm always in and we're always moving forward. Our AD always talks about, we want to get shovels in the ground and keep them in the ground and keep things moving. And she's not joking when she says it. She's not just trying to blow smoke. It's when one thing finishes, we want another thing starting, and it's how it's been for the last 4 years. And it's just a ton of fun to be around.
That's cool. Don't put those shovels away. When you talk about the facilities and being able to use them year round, what do you mean by that? Is that because it's of the playing surface?
The playing surface, yeah. So in September we got an altar field put in, and it's been amazing. It's a game changer. We would get to practice outside maybe once or twice in January leading into the start of the season. And that practice outside wouldn't be on a full field. It'd be on a turf football field outside or just on our dirt if it was dry enough. Now we had, I think we were outside eight to 10 times this January on our field, actually. So you can actually practice with, a normal setting, with a fence and bases and normal stuff that you would do on a normal basis. And I think that's made all the difference this year for us, is just being able to have those practices in January and, to get us ready to go to play the season. It's been a game changer for us. It's, we played Utah State a couple weeks back. I think it was, we got 6 inches of snow the day before. It was plowed off. We played the very next day. Good to go. We're able to play games in the beginning of March at home. We're not having to spend the first, 35 games on the road. And that's a huge thing for our student athletes, so that they can be, in their own beds, so they can be at class more often. So, so everything's a little more normal and not just, all right, we're flying here, we're busing here, we're, in this hotel, we're in that hotel. So, it's all made a huge difference. And, it's only going to get better as we keep going and people realize, what kind of facility we have here and what kind of team you're going to get to play when you come here too. So, it's been a great first year of the turf, and I can't wait to, keep building off of it and see what else comes from it.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I think too, just being able to use the elements to your advantage, right? Like have some people come play up in the cold and let your pitchers pound the inside, the small part of the bat, and get on the hands a little bit. Yeah, that's gotta play to your benefit a little bit. Like when you hit the ground, like when you got on campus and you got your keys and you kind of looked at the roster and you looked at the program, like what was some of the first things that you said, I want to change or I want to establish here?
So the first thing was just getting more athletic. When you talk from a roster standpoint, just getting more athletic. I'm big on, being athletic 1 through 9, being able to steal bases, anybody being able to steal a base. And we're not a huge base stealing team, but we do run a decent amount, but we just kind of run more strategically. But I want to be able to steal with anybody. So being athletic and having that versatility that, people can play different positions. And that was obviously a big one. Obviously, improving the pitching staff, getting more pitching depth was a big one right from the start too. And I think we're at a good spot with that now where, I think we have 4 pitchers that have already all thrown almost, 35 or 40 innings this year. We're not just riding one person for, 150 innings or, 200 innings. So we got people that can stay fresher and stronger as the season goes on because we have that depth in the circle. And then obviously my biggest goal was the facility from the start. I told everybody when I got hired, I was like, we need turf. And it took 3 full seasons to make it happen, but that vision happening. And I think people can kind of see how big of a deal it is and how important it was. And so just the facility improving was my biggest goal from the start. And to see where we started at to where that thing's at now, it's night and day and it's beautiful. And it's, you come out and you show a recruit now and when you show a recruit, it's not something that we just walk up there and spend 2 minutes at and then go on to a different part of town or campus. Now we go up there and we hang out up there at the field because, we can put the video board on and have something going. We show them the field and, you got the mountains all around. You got the turf that's perfectly green all year long. And now it's a huge selling point for our program. So, I think getting that done, that was, like I said, that was my goal from day one was, improving the roster, getting some pitching depth, but also improving that facility. So it was a place that our kids could be proud of and, want to show off and, want to talk about with other people outside of our area. But it's also helping us grow softball in this area too, because now we can host stuff more often at our place where there wasn't anywhere for softball to happen for, 6 months out of the year because there just wasn't a field available. So, you had to go inside, and going inside is great. Like I love, it's awesome that our football team plays in a dome right here. And we have some cages in there. We can get in there. We need to get in there, but, kids need to be outside playing softball on a field. And, so now that we have that as an option and that we can help grow the game here in our area, that's the next big step for us to take, is to help with that aspect of things of, making sure that we're improving softball in Southeast Idaho so that it's not just, just Idaho State. We want this entire area to grow in the game. And there's a lot of good people around the area too that are helping with that. And so we want to be a big part of that as well.
That's cool. Since you kind of went into that next piece, let's talk a little bit about recruiting. What is it like, and you talked a little bit about it being an easier selling point to go to the field and kind of showcase your field, But what are still some of the hurdles you face recruiting people to Idaho State?
I think it's just getting people to realize where we're at and what we have going here too. It's, when we first start to talk to people initially, a lot of it's like, oh, like, where's Idaho State? Or I'm like, well, we're in Idaho, but that's, and it's, the location's not ideal, but also like we're not in a terrible, it's an easy drive up from Salt Lake City. We're about 2 hours north of Salt Lake City. And so once people kind of realize that and understand where we're at and get to see some of the things, I think then it kind of takes off from there. But, it's just getting people to understand. It's from where we started that first year when I was recruiting people, like, I don't think anybody knew really who we were at all. We'd get confused a lot when we're out recruiting for, all the other orange and black schools or things like that, or other Tigers. And when we're not Tiger, we're the Bengals. And so, but now it's become, people know who we are, and, the connections that we have are great. And I think people understand, like, okay, if you're sending them to play for us, like, it's competitive. We're going to win. We're going to play against, whoever. We're going to play against anybody and everybody. And we expect to go win those games now. It's not just to go play for fun to be, oh, we played so-and-so, it's, we expect to go places and go be competitive. And, so in that sense of things, I think the recruiting's kind of taken off in that area. I think these next 2 incoming classes that we have are good examples of that, and just really good players, really good, coming from really good programs. And, it's become a lot easier than in those first couple of years where you're just trying to sell almost yourself and your vision a little bit. Now it's, we can sell the program, and obviously ourselves as a coaching staff helps as well. But, it's become a little easier to just be, hey, we've got this facility. This is what we do on the field. This is what we expect from them in the classroom. And this is what we want from them. And we want, we want them to come be a part of what we got here at Idaho State.
Yeah, you kind of had to sell them on, like, you, like you said, they had to buy into you and some trust in you, and then kind of, look at, maybe have a little bit more of a long-term outlook. But I got to imagine, like, the record now helps. Obviously, like I said in my opening, I mean, pretty big win against Texas State. Like, you guys are playing good teams.
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean,
what I've noticed.
We went down to Texas A&M and we, beat Texas Tech in the opener, beat Texas State. Even we played Princeton and George Washington. Like, Princeton was in the NCAA tournament, won games last year. Like, it was no joke. They're a very good team. George Washington's leading the Atlantic 10 this year. Like, that weekend, then we played Texas A&M tough, and a lot of, like, we could have just gone down there and been down there for the experience of playing in a great stadium at Texas A&M, but our players went down there and they expected to be in those games and expected to win. And like I tell everybody, like, the next step for our program, like, we've won some regular season championships. We've got the facility now. We need to win a conference tournament so we can get into the NCAA tournament, and playing in weekends like that one down at Texas A&M are what gets us ready for a regional. So when you play that first game and you're on the road against an SEC or a Big 10 or a Big 12 team, or an ACC team, you've seen a crowd like that. You've seen a stadium like that. It's not just like shock and awe in that opener when you're playing against them. And so hopefully that helps them out. And this team has big goals this year. And, as long as, we stay the track and stay the course, I think, we're in a good spot to make it happen this year. So I'm excited to see how the season ends. And, but, to have those experiences in those games, and, we can, people see everything nowadays. So, that's on social media. Like, kids across the country see that, we beat Texas Tech, that we beat Texas State. That we're playing in these kind of games throughout every year, and it's where we go. We will go down to play at Arizona State. We will go to play wherever we got to go play. And kids see that and want to be a part of it, and that's exciting for us. And we continue to build on the quality of players that we bring in here.
Yeah, and I think that's when it kind of stuck out to me. And I think I texted you. I was like, "Hey, man, like, great job down in College Station." And not to mention, like, really tough competitive games against, Washington. And, to me, like, it seems like your whole program is just kind of really headed in the right direction. Is there, before we jump to the next topic, is there anything else on your program, your field, that is like next steps? Is there another vision in terms of facilities or any other thing like that?
Yeah, well, I would love to get lights. I would love to get some lights, and I would love to we need to get some kind of coverage on our bullpen / cage area. Obviously we have indoor cages that we can come use, in our football team plays in a dome, which is awesome. And so we've got that, but having a place that they can go 24/7 and this is my place where I can go hit, swipe in or use a key, whatever they got to do. I think that would be awesome, but lights would be great. Like I said, that goes, like, it's great for us because we can do some more things scheduling wise with practice and games and tournaments and things like that. But it also goes back to the piece of, building softball in this area. If we have lights, now we can do more things throughout the day, throughout the year. We're not limited to just, when the sun's up, we can do stuff. It's, just more field availability. And so that's something that I'd like to see in the next year or two, is some lights go up. And it definitely helps with hosting tournaments. Obviously we hosted a tournament this past year, and we had Washington, we had Utah, we had Boise, we had Montana all here, which was great. But then our game times are all jammed into daylight time, and so having some lights and being able to host, have those games be able to be a little more spread out would be fantastic, and also helps us get more people here to the games where we can play at 5 o'clock when people are off work, or we can play at 6 or 7 o'clock when people are off work is definitely helpful. So. Just some small things. I mean, expensive small things, but you always want to be exactly doable, very doable, and you always want to be moving forward, and you always want to have something else that's in mind and that you're working towards, and have something next. What's next, and let's keep going with that.
Yeah, I want to jump into your season. First of all, let me ask you, how's Kira Day doing? I saw something online. I don't know them. I know Scott a little bit. Just in coaching, we've never really coached together, or I've never had any of his kids. But like, how's Kira doing?
Yeah, Kira's awesome. She's redshirting this year. She had some shoulder things and some other health things, and so and we're missing her big time. For not, I mean, she'd be
athlete, right?
Yeah, just a super athlete and just a great kid too. But very athletic. She could play anywhere in the infield too. And we're missing her bat right now for sure. She could, like I said, she could play anywhere in the infield, and she can hit. She's got a ton of power. It's just unlimited power. And so we're missing her this year, but the fact that we get to redshirt her, and preserve this year of eligibility, and that she didn't lose it is great. So we're excited for her to get healthy and get back to feeling 100%, so that we can, use her going forward in the future for sure.
Awesome. Cool. All right, let's talk about this 2025 season. Your team's 21-13, if I got that right. 2-1 in conference. So you just got started. What are the wins so far? Like, what does the record so far say about your team to you? Like, what are you pulling from that in regards to the way your team has been playing?
I think it goes into their preparation and their togetherness is the big one too. Like there's been some tough spots that we've been in, and they've stuck together as a group, and they've kind of found some ways to grind out some wins. And it all hasn't been pretty the entire way. It's not like we're 21-13 and every game's been like, oh, the greatest thing ever. It's, we've had some highs, we've had some lows, and we've been able to work through some of those lows to still find ways to win games in those times. And I think that's something that we kind of challenged our team with, is just, sticking together through everything. Like you're going to play great. You're also not going to play very good, but can you find a way to manage those times and still stick together and be, finding a way to grind it out through all that. We've had some really good moments and some big wins. We've had a lot of close ones too. We talked about the Washington game earlier. Like that one, that we were up 2-0 in the 6th, and that would have been an awesome one to get here in our home opener. And we had a great crowd that day. But we're in a lot of, we don't like a lot of our losses are by 1, 2, 3 runs. It's games where we're right there, where it's it comes down to 1 or 2 plays, and it's felt like a longer season because of how close a lot of these games have been. But to watch them grind it out and stick together through everything, and it's hard to play 7 weeks straight of non-conference games, because you're getting to the conference schedule, and that your goal is you want to win a conference championship, and so you're fired up for that first month out of the gate when it's fresh, it's new, it's it's just happening now. But grinding it out for 7 weeks in non-conference is tough, and so to watch them to grind through all that and pick up the wins that we did, and get ready so that we're playing hopefully we're building our best into this month, and then obviously into May for the conference tournament. But it's just been fun to watch them kind of grind through everything and work, and to see the highs of the Texas, to watch their reaction to the Texas Tech win, and in the game, really just like you could feel it, like in the Texas Tech game, the Texas A&M game, the Washington game, those games where in the past I feel like we just never had a chance in those games because they were just so worried about the other side. And this year it was like they were just locked in on themselves, and like, all right, we are, like, you could see it and feel it in the dugout when they're on the field. Like, we're supposed to be in this game. We're supposed to win this game. And so to see that kind of that change this year has been super rewarding and just a lot of fun because we've been telling them for the last few years, like, you guys can play with anybody. Like, you just got to show up, play your game, stick to yourself, and do you. This is the first year where it's really felt like that's the case for them. No matter who we're playing, it's like, all right, we're going to play our game. We're going to play Idaho State softball, and that's going to put us in a good spot. So that's been the funnest thing. Funnest, that's a terrible word to use, but been the most rewarding thing to see from them is just them expecting to be in every game against whoever we're playing.
Yeah, you've believed in it, or you see it, and you relay that to them. When they buy into it, it's a whole different story. Tell me about how you must have a pretty mature team if like they can go, like, to be able to keep them grounded when they do win a game like a Texas Tech or some of those Texas State. I mean, you mentioned that too. Like, that's a huge win. They were a tournament team last year. But to like talk about that, like talk about the maturity of your team and like maybe who your leaders are or how they handle those high moments.
Yeah, we've got a good group of kids that have been here for 3 or 4 years now, and I think that helps. And that helps with we are still playing a lot of younger kids too, freshmen and sophomores. But those kids that have been here for 3 and 4 years now, those ones that they've been through it all, they've seen it all, they're so experienced and they've played so many games now. I think that they're kind of the way that they're grounded, the way that they see things now helps those younger kids be right there with them. It's not like it's that shock from the first year of certain situations and things like that. So the leadership that we have from the junior and senior class has been super helpful and has kind of guided us a little bit. And we have a 4th-year player in the leadoff spot, and she's been here. She's seen from the very first year of what we did here to this last year. And she's the first. Her and one of our other seniors are, the first players that I've been able to coach for 4 years straight. Because 2 years at Sonoma, 3 years at Boise, I haven't ever been able to coach somebody for an entire 4-year career. And so for them to see everything that from the start to the finish, now they're just so much more. They're so experienced and they understand what we're doing on a way higher level. So then they're able to, it's not always just coming from the coaching staff. And when it comes from the players to a player, it just means so much more. And so for us to be able to be at a spot where we have that now, and this junior class was really our first true recruiting class that we signed. And so they're in from the very beginning, and it's a solid group of kids that, do everything the right way. It's just fun to watch them lead themselves. Like I don't have to stop practice if things aren't going well. They'll do it themselves and they get it fixed. And it's made it a lot easier on our end of things on the coaching side of we're not as worried about everything because we know our players have got it under control. And that's just a proud coach moment for sure, is just being able to see that. And it's taken a little bit of time, but now we're there, and it's just fun to see.
It's so funny for you to use the words proud coaching moment. I had a high school game yesterday, and I literally was just watching my group just play and move runners and hit behind runners. And I know we always everybody talks about it. Every guest I've ever had talks about shortening up and try to hit behind runners, but I'd like to watch them. And I actually texted one of my friends. I said, dude, proud coaching moment. Like, it was so fun. So I know exactly what you mean when I actually was envisioning all that stuff as you were talking about it. What's your day-to-day message right now? Like, I know obviously starting the season off, and then you played a whole bunch of games, competitive games, but now that you're starting conference play, what is your day-to-day message from day one, and has it changed going into today, this weekend?
No, definitely not. No, it's the same. We talk about every day we got to get better. Every day we got to stack days. We don't want to have 2 good days and then have a bad day and then, have to pick back up, because then you're not going anywhere. So we talk about stacking days and finding consistency and being able to bring energy every single day, so that, we want practices to be as upbeat and as energetic as what game days are, so that then when it's on game day, it's not just something we're doing only on game day. It's got to be like that every day in practice. And, like I mentioned it a little while ago, but we're building and want to be playing our best when May rolls around, so that we play our best that week of the conference tournament. And so to do that, we've got to stack days. We've got to improve. We can't take days off. We can't take pitches off. And, I think with a little bit more mature team, that's something that we've been a lot better at this year of, if we are struggling a little bit in a practice, like I said, like it gets stopped and, hey, we got to get on the right track. We got to get better today. And then, we make adjustments and we get better. And so that's been good to see. But the message doesn't change from a non-conference to a conference game. Obviously, we know that there's a little more on a conference game and, a little more importance. But at the same time, like every game is an opportunity to get better. Every game is an opportunity to, go out and represent our school and our program and keep putting ourselves out there and keep making a name for Idaho State softball. So we want to get better every single day and keep improving every single chance that we get to be on the field.
Nice. Player spotlights. Let's give your players a little bit of love here. It looks like Ava Brown is raking. She's hitting 347 with like 14 bombs. Alyssa Yee and Gracie Smith, right?
She's swinging it really well. It's
what would you attribute that to?
So Ava had ankle surgery at the end of the summer last year, and so she was out all fall. And so the work that she put in, what she was able to do when she was working back from the ankle surgery, I think that she got stronger in her upper body, because that was all she was able to do was upper body stuff. And so she got just super strong. She was able to kind of see things from the outside, like having to sit out and just watch and be like sitting with a coach during a game and having to, and she asks a lot of questions and wants to know everything. And so having that time where she wasn't able to play, but she was able to learn by just watching, I think was huge for her. And then when she was cleared, she just went to work. And I mean, she spent November and December just working her butt off and figuring out getting her swing back and getting comfortable with it. And she was always the first to ask for more work outside of practice, and we were never going to say no to her. So, she, and it's right from the start, she was just on it, from the opening weekend. And it's just kept rolling. She's swung it really well. 14 homers in 30 something games she's been swinging it really, really well. And, she had 2 last weekend in the conference opening series. And, so excited to see what she can do to finish out the year, but she's a big piece in the middle of the lineup. Obviously you talked about Alyssa Yee. She's had a great year too. Those 3, Ava Brown, Alyssa Yee, Gracie Smith, they're basically, what makes our offense go. Like they're top 3 in the conference in runs scored. Ava and Alyssa are both in the top like 3 or 5 in the conference in RBI. They're all like top 5 for 10 in the conference in hits. When those 3 go, like we're extremely hard to beat. I think at the beginning of the season, we were getting some contributions from throughout the lineup, which made it a little easier. But those 3 have just been so consistent the entire year, and they find ways to get on base. They're stealing bases. They're driving in runs. They're, they're a ton of fun to watch because of everything they can do. They can hit homers. They can drop drag bunts. They can hit singles, double. They can do it. They're very versatile offensive players, and that's exactly the kind of players that we're, always searching for and always hoping to have in our lineup is, we want to be able to hit. We have to be able to hit home runs. It's something that we can't avoid. Being at elevation the way we are, we have to be able to hit home runs. But we do go down to play at sea level and things like that. So we got to be able to to manufacture runs as well, and so to hit singles, to steal bases, to drop a bunt when we need to, and those 3 are just like picture perfect. What we look for when we're out recruiting and trying to find players, and they've done a great job setting the table for us at the top of the lineup all year long.
Are any of those like your vocal leaders, or are they more like hardworking, lead by example type kids?
I would say Ava is a vocal leader for sure. She's the loudest on the field for sure. You always hear her voice. You know where she's at. She's also our hardest worker too, so that helps. Alyssa's more of a quieter, like do it. I mean, she'll talk when she needs to, but she's gonna just lead by example a little bit more. And Gracie will talk a little bit too, but she just kind of just, grinds and does what she needs to do. And but Ava's definitely, I would say, our leader on the field, off the field a little bit. And her voice is the one that we follow mostly, for sure. And we obviously follow her lead, with what she's doing offensively and defensively for us in center field too.
Gotcha. And who would you say offensively is kind of like your unsung hero?
Unsung hero, man, that's a tough one. I would say, Olivia Robeson is a good one for that one. She's in the middle of our lineup as well, but she took a foul ball straight to the nose when we were playing at Texas A&M. And so she missed, I think she missed the rest of that weekend. And I think she missed most of that next weekend. She was out with, nose was just all jacked up. And
that hitting?
Yeah, she hit so she was wearing a face piece, not a face mask. And she just somehow got a foul ball perfectly right in there, and it just drilled it right square in the middle of the nose, and just blood gushing everywhere. And so she missed a little bit of time. And our offense, we were not in a great spot without her in the lineup, but we're missing a piece right in the middle. And so her getting back in there, and she's just been clutch for her entire career. She's a junior now, but she's been a huge RBI person for us all 3 years that she's been here now. And so to get her back and to see her be able to come back from that so quickly, because she fouled that ball straight into her nose and blood everywhere, and she was freaked out. Everybody was a little freaked out. For her to come back the way that she did from that, and how fast she came back has been awesome to see. And she jumped right back into it like it never happened, really. And so for her to do that and to be able to still, play to the level that she's playing to is awesome to see, and has been a huge part of, we missed her during that. I think she missed probably 6 or 7 games. And we missed her big time in those games. And so to have her back is awesome.
Let's talk a little bit about your pitching staff. It looks to me like Tomasini and Anguianga. How do you say that? Aguinaga. It looks like those two are pitching a lot for you.
Yeah.
Talk about your staff.
Yeah. So Lizzie has been awesome. She threw the game against Texas Tech and was great. They really had to manufacture those 2 runs that they got against her in that game. They had to grind it out. I think they had 9 singles against her. But it was all, not a lot of, she throws hard. She's in the zone a lot. She doesn't walk a lot of people. So you gotta earn what you get off of her. But high velo, and that's kind of her calling card. Her changeup has improved this year, which has helped. And she's just a gamer. She's tough. She's competitive. She comes from a competitive family. And so it's been fun to see her. She was with us for the first half of last year, and then got hurt right in the middle of the season last year. And so not having her for the conference part of the schedule last year in the conference tournament was a huge loss for us. And so to have her back healthy this year has been great. Casey's a transfer from Boise State that I had recruited over there when I was there. And after 2 years, we finally got her to come over here. And she's a left-handed pitcher and gives us a little bit of a different look. And that's been a lot of fun. She's been awesome. She shut out Texas State. She threw really well last week against Sac State and had a shutout. And she just gives us, like I said, it's just a different look. We've wanted a lefty since I got here, and she's the first one that we got. And our Kelsey Brodus, our pitching coach, was a left-handed pitcher herself, and so having a lefty on her staff is a big thing too, because she can. It's a lot easier. It's not easier for her, but it just makes more sense for her to have a lefty when she was a lefty herself. And so to see the growth that Casey's had from the limited amount of innings that she threw her first 2 years to now kind of jumping into it and throwing a ton of innings this year has been awesome to see. And we knew that she was talented and had really good stuff. And so to see the work that she's put in with Coach Kells and to see that come out and have the success that she's had has been great. And then we have Riley Wickham and Megan Miracle too. Riley's a junior, Megan's a freshman, and they've had really good moments this year as well. Megan had some really good outings early in the year and has kind of had to figure out college softball a little bit, and that you can't just, throw it hard down the middle. And so that's been a learning experience. So she's still working through that a little bit, but both of them, Riley throws, heavy drop ball and high velo. And so she's a huge piece for us as well, but both of them, finish out that depth. And one of our best pitchers is out for the year. Marley Gillespie had surgery a couple weeks ago. And so she's out for the year, and she was, second team all conference last year. So we are missing a little bit, but that just goes to the depth that we have tried to build of, hey, if we lose one, we're not going to be in, it's not the end of the world. We'd obviously love to have her with us, but that's why you build a pitching staff, is so that, when you do lose somebody, or if somebody does go down with an injury, you got people that can pick up the slack and be right there to help out. And that's what we have now is pitching depth. And that's the biggest thing that we worked towards over the last couple of years, is making sure that we have that depth, so that it's, we don't have to, like I said earlier, we don't have to run somebody out there every single day. We can change up the look. We give people a lot that they have to prepare for, and they have to work during the week to get ready to play us. And we can show a lot of different things and keep hitters off balance, which is the goal at the end of the day. There's too much video nowadays, I think, to just have one pitcher that you run out there every day, because we can spend all week watching the same kid and set the machine up to be the same as that kid's going to throw. And, eventually we're going to figure it out. They may get us for one or two times through the lineup, but if you got to run that same kid out there, once you get to the third, fourth plus time through the lineup and seeing that same kid, hitters are going to figure it out. So that's something that we're able to do. And, that's a big piece of our success, is you got to prepare for a lot of different things from our pitching staff. And so it's hard to prepare for us for a weekend series. And so that's what we've tried to get to, and we feel really good about where we're at now.
I have a question on at your level, at the college level. Is there a velo number that you is an absolute must in your opinion? And then also, is there a preference on pitches up, down, off speed versus, east, west?
Yeah. I mean, obviously I think there's a velo number of a high number that is okay, when it's that, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're throwing a, 67 and above, that number, a lot of things don't really matter that much anymore.
Right.
Let's run her out there. And you may not be able to run her out there for 7 innings, because eventually kids are going to figure out the timing. But when you're throwing high velo like that, it's okay, let's run her out there for one time through the lineup. Hey, go chuck it for 9 hitters and we'll be all right. Let's go.
Even the misses help you. Yeah.
I think for me, the biggest thing is you got to have a changeup. Velo's great, but velo's not end all be all. But if you don't have a changeup and can't change timing, then you're in trouble. It gets really hard. You could spin. I think spin and a changeup are the two most important things. Obviously, if somebody's throwing 65 and spinning it and has a changeup, awesome. Sign them up. But at the end of the day, if you can spin it and miss barrels, that's the biggest thing. If you can change timing and have an elite changeup and get people off balance, that's also helpful too. And so I think spin and really good spin, and then obviously a really good off speed pitch is huge. I think those are the two biggest for us. Like I said, but if we can find somebody that throws 65 plus, there's not that many of them out there. They're just not. And, so for us to have 1, 2 on staff that are like that is a big deal for us. And, anytime you can find it, you'll take it, because then you try to help with spin, try to add an off speed pitch and things like that. But, when we're out watching pitching, we're trying to, who misses barrels, who gets swings and misses, who has a really good changeup. Perfect. Let's go. Let's keep watching that kid and see what they got, and try to get into a camp and work with them a little bit too. And I will say, pitching is the one thing that we take a lot longer to watch and go through the process a little bit with the recruiting. We'll move a lot faster with position players. I feel like you can see that a lot faster. Pitching, I want to watch pitching a little bit longer before we start pulling triggers. But and obviously, I think facing good competition too is a big thing too. Are you dominating lower level competition? But what do you do when you face better hitters? That's a big one too. But you can't replace missing barrels and getting mishit balls and getting swings and misses. You can't replace those two things. That's the name of the game nowadays.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's talk about your coaching staff, or your coaching style and your coaching staff, for just a minute. What's your favorite part of the game to coach?
My favorite part of the game is defense. I love defense. You win on pitching and defense still. as offensive as the game has become, you still win at the end of the day with pitching and defense. If those are the two things that you can always hang your hat on. Offense maybe they're on some days, may not be some days, but you can always play good defense. So we take a lot of pride in playing clean defense, playing catch. Playing catch is a huge one. I take care of the ball. When you field the ball, it should be an out because we should be able to play catch. And that's, we spend a lot of time on defense. Our kids probably wish we hit a little bit more than what we do. But you just got to spend time on defense. You got to do it. It's such a huge, you're going to win and lose games on defense. There's going to be days where you play a high scoring game, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to come down to something you do on the defensive side of things that is going to, win or lose that game. So I'm just very passionate about the defensive side of things, about being in the right place, being in the right place on a cut and relay, being in the right place on a bunt defense, being in the right place on a first and third. We're very passionate about defense up here. And I love watching us when we do play. And we had a couple weeks ago, we had a first and third play. They show a bunt, runner steals, we throw down, shortstop catches, sweeps a tag on the kid, spins around, throws home, catch, tag, double play. I was like, that was the greatest moment of my life. Like that was yes. It. They were like, what about your son being born? I was like, okay, like maybe, but like that was pretty awesome right there because we just spend so much time. Like, we go watch travel ball games when we're out recruiting. We go watch high school games. You watch games on TV too, still college games. And people, so many times it's just like teams just let people steal second base and take second base for free. And I'm like, please, like do something.
Yeah,
throw it back to the pitcher. Give it arm fake and like throw it to do something with it. Don't just let somebody just walking to second base and you just let them do it. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like there's times for it. If the winning run's at third base, if that's the winning run in the bottom of the seventh, like, okay, maybe not because we can't throw in a run. But in the second or the third inning, when you got a 1-run lead, like, yeah, I'll trade it out for a run, but also the chance that we could turn a double play because we can play catch and be in the right spots and do what we need to do. Like, but we spend a ton of time in the fall on playing catch, on four corner throwing, on, messing with things and putting them in awkward positions that they have to, hit moving targets and throw on the run and do different things. And just playing catch, like it's the lost art of the game, like playing catch. Like when we host a camp, I'm like, I like close my eyes when people are playing catch because I'm worried that somebody's going to get like hit in the face because somebody can't throw straight or somebody just can't catch. And it's hard to watch. It's like that at anything that we go to. I'm like, can we spend an hour just playing catch? Like we spend about 5 minutes playing catch and then we go straight into, hitting or straight into ground balls. Like it doesn't matter if they can field the ground ball if they can't throw. So what's the difference? So obviously a little bit of that, you can see how passionate I am about defense, but it's defense is the name of the game.
No, I love it. I hate giving up second base. I like to throw down a lot. Obviously you have to have the right personnel. Obviously, you got to have the shortstop that doesn't need to take 2 steps to get the ball to home. But yeah, no, I hate giving it up. But I've spent. Do you know who Kara Brunn is? Do you know who Gabby Garcia is? She's a shortstop at Oklahoma. Played for Stith.
Okay.
Anyway, she her mom coaches with me on my staff, and she's created some amazing shortstops over the years. Like I can name off a bunch that are in college right now that played for other organizations, but she does a great job. And I've learned some things from her and the passion that she puts into that side. And I thought I was pretty good at it. But there's like just some little things that situationally that I'm like, okay, like, and so, yeah, so
right. Yep.
I love that part. I love that part as well. Let's talk what about your staff? How much do you put on your staff? How's Carly doing, by the way? And like, what is like, is your pitching coach, is that her thing and you don't mess with it? Or like, just give me a little insight on how you run your team.
Yeah. So Carly's been awesome. Carly is, Carly's an Arizona kid, obviously. And so getting to know her when I coached her at Boise State and then to see her in a coaching aspect here, she's awesome with our players and really good at connecting with them and helping them in a lot of different areas. But she does a great job. She obviously played defense for me too. She played second, third, and short in her time at Boise when she was playing for us. And So she knows where everybody's supposed to be too. So she's locked in on the defensive side of things as well. And me and her kind of tag team the hitting, and she does a great job connecting with them and figuring out what each kid, like it's not just like, okay, we're going to do this today and everybody's doing this. Like she's really good at pinpointing what each kid needs and being able to then provide it for them too. Not just like, well, we'll do this today, this tomorrow. Like she's able to kind of split things up. And so it's been fun to see her in that coaching aspect of getting comfortable and growing as a coach too. Like it takes time. Like everywhere I've gone, like my first year is always kind of a little awkward when you're trying to figure out, okay, what can I say? When do I say it? How do I approach it? And so to see her in year 2 now, feel a little more comfortable and being able to just kind of go for it. It's been a lot of fun to watch her work, and she does a ton of great things. She's on top of it with scouting. She does a really good job of preparing our kids for the weekend and making sure that they're ready to go. She's able to convey her message to our players really well. So it's just fun to watch her grow. And then Kelsey is our pitching coach, and I don't know anything about pitching. I know what it's supposed to look like, and I know, like, can we throw strikes and can we get people out? But like when it comes to the mechanics and things like that, like I tell them, hey, like I'm out on that stuff. I know, like, we got to pound the zone, we got to hit a spot. When it's 0-2, we can't be throwing it down the middle. Let's go at people. Like that's all I got. I got like the inspirational stuff of that side of things, and how and I can break down a hitter and say, hey, like this is how we can get this kid out. But I'm never going to be in the bullpen saying, hey, we got to tweak this, or got to tweak that. Like that's her. You're the pitching coach. Go do what you got to do. Like I'm here to help you when it's, hey, what should we throw in this spot, or hey, how do we get this kid out? Like I'm here for you 100% of the way. But when it comes to mechanics and getting our pitchers right and making sure they're feeling good about things in that area, that's all her, and she does a fantastic job. She has a great connection with all of her pitchers, and and then even though she's the pitching coach, she still does a great job of connecting with every single one of our players too. And she does a great job of kind of helping our hitters of hey, like this is how I try to get you out. This is probably how they're going to try to get you out as well, and able to kind of talk about that side from the hitter side of things too. And so that's a great aspect of having a pitching coach that can have those conversations with your hitters as well. So that's been good to see. And we got a grad assistant, Taylor Fitzgerald. She had a 4-year career at Davis and then played for us last year as a grad transfer. And then she's finishing up school this year. And, she does a great job of she throws batting practice. She does all the office work that she has to do. She does a ton of our video stuff. But she's also able to she's seen a lot. I mean, she had a 5-year career. She's seen a lot of things. And so she's able to kind of drop some things in too for our players as well, and help them in that area, which is extremely helpful. So the more eyes that you can have, the better. And it's always fun to kind of see, it's fun to see younger coaches. So they're all, Kelsey's in her 3rd year, Carly's in her 2nd year. This is Taylor's 1st year as a grad assistant. It's fun to see them grow and like get more comfortable with talking about different things. And it's, they get really excited about certain things. It's like, hey, like, all right, like that's not something that we really got to worry about that much. But, they're just so fired up for the game and for the program and to help these players get better, and to, they want the best for them all the time. And so it's fun to see them, it's fun to be able to have former players that you saw as a player now be on the coaching side, and to see them grow in that area. It's very rewarding for me, and it's great to see them to grow and to improve as coaches on a daily basis.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we talked a little bit beforehand about the GA stuff. What could I give future players of mine that are looking for to get into a GA position? Because it seems like you just said, this kid played for you, and then that spot opens up. It seems like that's kind of the way it goes. But like, is there any one small piece of advice you could help me with that I could relay to anybody who's looking to get a GA position?
And I think the biggest thing is just using the people that to help you. Like for you, for example, anybody that's played for you, everybody. Like you have connections with everybody. You know how to connect with those people and to talk to those people. And I think having those conversations of, hey, I've got a kid, and they may be there, but those players using those connections, not just waiting until the summer and be like, hey, like, Randy, can you help me get a grad assistant position? Like, school starts in a month. It's like, no, like it's not really how it works. But I think that those players using their connections that they have, like I think that players kind of underestimate how many connections they've built over their time too. Like they have the coaches they played for, they have the coaches that they played against, and they have their travel ball coaches as well. The club ball coaches that have know everybody. All these people are connected in different ways. There's so many opportunities out there to get to all these people, and to connect. And if it's not one person, then that person knows somebody else who needs a grad assistant. So just using those connections and finding the right fit and somebody who needs what they can provide. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just don't be afraid to use the connections that these kids build up.
Yeah, this particular player asked me in October, and I didn't really know the path, and I know there were some emails sent out and things like that. But yeah, I'll relay that. I appreciate that. Really quick, what are you looking for this summer? What does your recruiting look like as far as where are you going, and how can a player that's out there listening to this right now, how do they get to go play for you at Idaho State?
Yeah, so we'll go with the schedule first. So we'll be in NorCal a couple times for a couple LTG's been on a couple camps and showcase tournaments, and so we'll be there for both of those. We'll be in Denver for probably a good week or even more than a week at everything that's going on there in the summer, and then we'll be at PGF. So we'll be at PGF at the end of the summer, and that'll be mostly it for us. We will see. We may add on one or two here and there, but those are the big ones that we'll hit for sure. And the best way to get in front of us is, send an email that has a video that I can watch and that is going to catch my eye in the first, 10 to 20 seconds. And an email that's not this long and isn't going to, make me have to read forever, because I just don't have, all the time to read every single one of them. So something that catches my eye and, makes me want to come out and watch you. And then even when you're out there, like, I may not even be at the field that you're playing at, but if something catches my eye as I'm walking into the park, like, stand out, talk. Like, talk is the biggest thing that catches my eye, and obviously catches my ears too, because, you hear somebody talking the game, you're like, oh, who's that talking about, talking the game and talking in the right way too. It's not just talking to talk. It's, when you can find a kid that can talk the game and it makes sense, and you're like, oh crap, like that kid knows what they're talking about, and they're not afraid to say it either. That stands out, and find what your strength is and make it as strong as possible so that it's unmissable when we're out watching games. Is the big thing. Versatility. Don't be afraid to. Don't just limit yourself to I'm only a center fielder or I'm only a shortstop. Like, play some different positions, because for us, we're recruiting shortstops and center fielders. So when you get to us, you're going to play somewhere else probably. And so having that versatility and being able to do different things is a big one as well.
Love it. Well, hey man, you've always been super supportive of Arizona kids, and my program, and all the programs in Arizona. I really appreciate everything you do in coming out to the field to support us and continue looking to Arizona to help your program. I'm hopeful that we can continue to do that. But I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. Anytime, Randy.
You got it. Well, hey, I just want to say thanks for listening. We will continue working to elevate the sport and get caught up with those who are influential in the fast pitch community, and hopefully we can help you navigate your softball journey. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Caught Up with Randy Kaye, or the handle @CoachKAZ. You can listen to the audio version of our podcast on Google, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you consume your favorite content. Finally, please follow us on X and Instagram using the handles @CoachKAZ. Thanks for listening.
This one's for my wife. Could've left 1,000 times just about my side.